inviting everyone, especially ladies and students and men, are very welcome to join Startup Weekend Cebu Women Edition 2019 at KMC Solutions on September 27, 28, and 29. Registrations are on Eventbrite. Please find us on Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/swcebu. So see you and see you online. Thank you.
So its goal is to empower communities and leaders around the world to strengthen women pursuing their dreams and building tools that change the world. So one of the few problem statements that inspired the start of the Global Startup Weekend Women Edition celebration is that there's this pressing issue where women account for 50% of the world's working age population but are largely misrepresented. So the tech field in specific is notoriously male-dominated at all levels, considerably worse than in non-tech industries. So, I'm sorry, you go down. Okay. So, 5.2%. So women just hold 5.2% of CEO positions in a lot of companies. So the reason why that's important is because a lot of the ecosystems, like tech startup ecosystems, or whatever industry it is, it greatly relies on the people on top willing to come down and teach whoever is new and emerging. So 5.2% of women leaders is a very small amount of the bigger number of leaders. And so because of that small amount, there are fewer people that those who want to start can relate with. And so having that as the first barrier, where you can only very rarely see another woman leader in your industry, it affects the psychology of somebody who is trying to go up into the ladder. So that's what we're hoping to change with the program. Well, not just the program, but the program is one of the things we would like to do to help solve that issue. So just some global statistics. Top barriers faced by women in tech. So there are, as I said, a lack of mentors, a lack of female role models in the field. There's gender bias in the workplace, unequal growth opportunities compared to men, and unequal pay for the same skills. Then again, these numbers are also provided to by Techstars, so this represents the whole, not necessarily a Philippine statistic. It's just like the whole world situation. Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah, okay. So, that's the correct hashtag. That's Global SW Women. So that's the proper hashtag. So we want to continue efforts in cultivating a wholly inclusive community. A key component of that vision is empowering women to pursue their dreams and build tools that change the world. So having a diversity of perspectives and ideas lead to Laurice is there in the picture. So diversity in perspectives, make better experiences, make more relevant outputs to the different, personalities that are there in the market, better leaders, and makes the community much more interesting to be in. We believe that by creating the right environment, programs and initiatives, women in tech, alongside the larger communities that they may be part of, not only women-centric communities, are better positioned to drive informational change in their community and beyond. So this is essentially what the feel of Startup Weekend Women Edition 2019 will be about. It's that our intent is that we want to embody a culture that does not make women feel like they have to prove themselves like they're less worthy and now they have to, make themselves worthy. And support women, make women feel like they have to prove themselves and support women in finding a new level of confidence in their abilities to succeed. So that's essentially the whole, problem statement and global vision of Startup Weekend represented. We are representing in behalf of Techstars. So now we can, and zooming in the bigger picture, now we can zoom in into what's happening here in Cebu. So.
Alright, so what is Startup Weekend? It's It's already been happening in Cebu for 8 years now. This is going to be the 8th startup weekend in Cebu, but this is the second women edition. The first women edition, we did it last year. Miss Laurice is there as a mentor. Thank you so much, Miss Laurice, for the support. And just a refresher on what will be going on the 3-day event or the 54-hour event. So Startup Weekend is the largest entrepreneurship program in the world. It's by Techstars, of course. So in numbers, since 2009, this is how many appeal or participate in the event. It's worldwide and they have a lot of themes. This is not just the one theme for Startup Weekend. There's sustainable, there's nomad, digital nomad theme. There's youth. We did youth 2 years ago. One of our organizers was a part of that event. And there are a lot of themes. And then it's just for 54 hours. It starts on Friday, and we always say that it's just no talk, it's all action. So it creates an environment to bring developers, designers, and people in business like marketing, PR, even in whatever industry, masking nursing, if they just want to like explore, any other industry, or product managers and startup enthusiasts. Go share their ideas, pitch, build, prototype, learn, and network, and possibly launch startups. That is the goal. And then, so just a granular look on the day or the activities during the day. On day 1, that is Friday night, so we will start with dinner. We will provide a lot of yummy foods in the event. So we start with dinner and networking, of course, and then the very anticipated 60 seconds pitch that everyone is welcome to, pitch in front, share their ideas. If you think of like a random idea on the spot, that would be also welcome. But if you already have an idea even before, that would be pretty awesome as well. And then after that, for people that doesn't have their pitch, they can also just choose an idea and try to form a team and join a team after that. So that's for Friday. So that's just dinner, pitch, and then form a team. That's just basically it. And then for day 2, it's going to be learning and working. So we are going to invite local mentors such as Miss Laurice here. She's representing the mentors from the business industry, developers, and 2 developers and 2 designers actually. So they could actually help them build a prototype if they can in within the time. So they can go validate their business, build business canvas, business model canvas, design sprint. We are going to also share that, and then Google is a sponsor, so we have workshops for Google as well. And for day 3, this is the very nerve-wracking day for our participants because they're going to present what their idea was last Friday and then furnish it and then tweak it and then make it presentable and then pitch it in front of a judge or a panel of judges. And then the panel of judges will decide a winner, and then the winning team one representative of the winning team will be sent to Singapore for the finals, for free accommodation, free flights, and everything, plus learning pa, mentors, network pa, investors, possible investors as well in Singapore. So again, day 1, just pitch, form a team, day 2, build, prototype, and then day 3, compete, actually, in summary. So, again, 2019 is going to be bigger and better. As I've mentioned earlier, last year we did a women edition, but it was just for Asia Pacific countries. But right now it's going global. Why this is going global? It's because Techstars believe that women account just 50% of the world's working age population, but are largely misrepresented. And then they believe that boosting entrepreneurship can sow seeds better in the future. And by continuing to grow Global Startup Weekend Women, the most important thing is we gather the participants, like-minded people, entrepreneurs, startup enthusiasts, committed mentors even, to engage on positive projects like this. And then they want to move the lines and open the world to entrepreneurship, because a lot of women that I have encountered as well don't even know what startup is. So it's more of an access to this kind of industry because we're more inclined into the traditional end of the 50 years working, I don't know. So the startup industry and the startup business or model is very new to some, especially for women. So moving the lines and gathering all these women in one place could really open doors. And I said open eyes for me. I even actually eyes talaga. Mind, open mind. And then go beyond borders. That's the most important.
Good afternoon. I'm Laurice Chiongbian. I'm the CEO and founder of Cavallo. We are a healthcare outsourcing company here in Cebu. And as Francie mentioned, I'm a previous mentor for Startup Weekend Women Edition, and I also judged the Youth Edition a couple of years ago. Yeah. So I'm very excited to be participating again in the upcoming version of Startup Weekend Women Edition. From my experience, I've actually been around the Startup Weekend scene, I would say, for 7 years since it started here in Cebu. And when I started my own company 3 years ago, I personally found a great support group of fellow entrepreneurs, a lot of resources from this community. And that is why I have been very encouraging of my friends who are also women entrepreneurs to get involved and also mentor the up-and-coming generation of women entrepreneurs, because you find a very great camaraderie and support system here, I think, also as an entrepreneur. And to answer Francie's question, I would say my experience last year was one that was mutually beneficial. So we're not just there as mentors to help these aspiring founders, but I think it works both ways. I think we find a lot of inspiration for ourselves in mentoring these young women and men, and helping them refine their ideas. And really, I think as a mentor, as an entrepreneur, when you know that you can amplify the benefits of your own successes and failures by helping others, the up and coming, it's motivating. We're helping. There's a bigger purpose involved here in uplifting women in the entrepreneurship scene. The challenges that I have had in my 3 years as an entrepreneur will not only serve myself, but will go on to serve other women who want to start their own company. And that is what's bringing me back again this year, and also helping me encourage other women entrepreneurs to get involved.
Hello, good afternoon everybody. I'm Alina Suarez. I'm the account manager of KMC Solutions. So first of all, I'd like to thank Mary Ann, of course, for reaching out and choosing us as a venue for the Startup Weekend Women Edition. We are actually their venue sponsor for this year and very thankful for that. Actually, our office now here in Cebu, we're actually filled with women. Our general manager, Lana Osmania, is of course heading the office here, and all of more or less even the staff are all women here. So it's very nice to have a startup weekend that is specifically for the women in our facility because of that reason. Just to give you a short background of KMC, we are the largest private office plug and play service office here in the Philippines. So this is our newest facility here where the venue will be. We can cater around 500. We can cater to around 500 seats. The thing with us that's why we decided to also partner up with Startup Weekend is that we also encourage entrepreneurship and startups. So if you notice in this venue alone, this is our co-working area. So we do promote startups even as small as just 1 seat, so that can grow to 5 to 100 to 200 in a year. So we're very thankful that we're partnering up with Startup Weekend.
But we had awesome ideas like that at last year's Startup Weekend, where now you see the impact of female founders. They're out there to solve problems for 50% of the consumer population that is going unaddressed. And then to further answer your question about what the trends are, I know at least on our side in the healthcare space, I'm also director at MyNemo. Honestly, investors are bullish about anything. If you have traction, they want to see a founder that knows how to bootstrap, knows how to be accountable, and just put earnings out there. We see a lot of ideas right now that are getting funding and they're not really profitable. I think more recently, people are being more sensitive about their investments just because of the global markets. And so I think any idea where you see a founder who is more into a profitable idea, a profitable operation, and can show profitability already and traction, and not just customers, but really, they're turning a profit, not just revenues, but really profitable, I think you would have no problem attracting investment. In reality, there are a lot of investors that we've seen at events such as Geeks on a Beach, Startup Weekend. We probably are just lacking more on profitable ideas and operations and teams. And I think that's also the beauty of Startup Weekend, is throughout the course of the weekend, if you come into this activity, let's say as more tech-oriented, you are going to get a crash course in finance, you're going to get a crash course in marketing, so you will come out of this weekend as a more well-rounded founder, in theory.
I think the most common challenge is really, regardless of theme, regardless of gender, it's really team dynamic. It's like, how do you work with people, because a business is a people, it's a people organization. So the usual challenge is some people, let their ego shine above anything else, and that kind of, makes the team fall apart. And even though they stay until the end, the output of that team, is not so good because they didn't put their heart into it. So that's like the biggest challenge that I've seen. So MyCab is a taxi hailing app, and they were participants of a startup weekend in Cebu. I think it was the second or third. Within the first, since there are 8 startup weekends in Cebu, I think they won one of the first 3. I'm not sure, but one of the first 3 they won. And then they're still in business until today. I think their head office is in Manila now. And then they're mostly focused on taxi hailing rather than private car, hailing. But I think they might, expand there soon enough. But for now, that's the current scope of their business. So MyCab was a past winner, and then they've sponsored and supported various past startup weekends as well. To say thank you. Thank you, MyCab. Thank you for being our poster child. The other one is Senti. Senti is they're an artificial intelligence, I think they're marketing as well, right? Like they collect data and then they process it. Though I could be wrong, but their company name is Senti. I think they won in Startup Weekend Manila. Another one in Startup Weekend Davao was Love Bucket. And Love Bucket is like a non-profit crowdsourcing donation platform. And then the last one is One Export. Though I'm not sure what One Export does. I think they won Startup Weekend Iloilo or something. So yeah, those are the 4 success stories that we usually state in our marketing, because they've been active since. The point of Startup Weekend is not to win, but to go through the experience of seeing what it's like to work with people under pressure and coming out of it, alive and coherent. So, because you're expected to make your product, like a demo of the product, like actual working product, whether it's a software or it's a hardware. You're expected to make a prototype. You're expected to have made surveys to make sure that it's a relevant product, and you're expected to know how to make money out of it. So it's a strong, the program itself is already, if you survive, then that's a win already. Yeah. So it's a big deal to have made it from Friday to Sunday is what I'm trying to say. But because some cultures prefer competition, and I'm talking about some of my friends in Taiwan and Hong Kong, they really value the competition part of it. So Startup Weekend does have a judging criteria. So this also, I will brief you this later on when you're judging. Ms. Nana?
I thought it's a beauty contest.
Okay, so there are 3 judging criteria for a startup weekend event. It's validation, execution and design, and business model. So essentially, the teams who will win tick off a lot of the points needed to be ticked off in the judging criteria. So validation means did you go out of the building, because you're not confined in the space. Like, you can leave the space, especially that we're here in RT Park. They can go out and run surveys, talk to people. Have you validated that that your idea is valuable to other people, essentially, and how well did you do that validation? The second one is validation. Execution and design is the prototype that I mentioned. So how well did your team create siguro like not a dummy, but like a baby version of the full product, if I were to explain it that way. So for example, there was a startup weekend in Dumaguete whose product was, it's a windshield shade that would come down if the car was too hot. So it would like automatically come down if the car was too hot. And then they were like a bunch of guys, because it wasn't a women edition event, it was just a general startup weekend. But they came on stage and they had this like crappy looking wire thingy with like, a bunch of things hanging off of it. But if they lit a flashlight on a certain area of that thingy, a panel would come down. Yeah. So that was how they illustrated how the product could potentially work. And so execution and design that's what it covers. And then lastly is business model. And business model, essentially, you can, so people, especially in East Asia, or rather Asia in general, people feel afraid to ask for money because it's a negative social connotation. Because, I'm a good person, I don't need to ask money. But the thing here is, how can you continue helping people if you can't help yourself? So the business model side is, how do you sustain, your business? How do you sell that product? How much? What are your operational costs versus the amount that you're asking? How often do your customers have to pay? So the more that's figured out, the higher your points are for business model. So those are the 3 main criteria. Yeah. Oh, and all of that, they only have 3 minutes. And they have only 3 minutes to pitch it in front and share it. So, yeah.
Elevator pitch.
Yeah, actually the first pitch, diba, Friday night and Sunday night. So Sunday night, 3 minutes, but on Friday night, because you don't have anything, right? It's just like in your head. You have just 60 seconds to convince people on stage that you're worth something and worth joining and voting. So you have 60 seconds on Friday night, and then when you've gone through the whole process, your culmination event is for 3 minutes na in Sunday night. So that includes, presenting everything, demoing everything, justifying everything. And then after the 3-minute presentation will be, I think, 2-minute Q&A with the judges. So, and then that's why we constrained the time, because sometimes if you make the Q&A longer, the judges will ask deeper questions, but to be realistic, since they only had a weekend to put everything together, they most likely did not think that as deep as, let's say, what are your projections in 20 years? That's hard. So, but the basics of what are you selling, what are you planning, how do you get there, with who, that's discussed. So
There are so many Startup Weekend alumni who are very involved up to this date as active businessmen, businesswomen, entrepreneurs here in the Philippines. And so, although maybe they did not pursue the idea they worked on at Startup Weekend, they perhaps went on to fund and pursue other business ideas, many times in collaboration with people they met at Startup Weekend. And I think that's important to mention. Why? Because as entrepreneurs, one thing that we often encounter is when we're hiring people, is lack of family support. So when we're trying to hire someone and they tell their parents we're working for a startup, we're working for a new tech company, sometimes the family members get kind of freaked out, like, why? Go work for a big company. Why do you want to work for a startup? And I think so that's important to mention that we want to demystify the idea of working for a startup. Many of these people do go on with their learnings to establish very successful companies. And we want to encourage many people, if not to continue to pursue their own startup, but to stay in the startup scene and to bring their talents to other organizations, to other founders who are trying to get their ideas off the ground.